Oh no, so we live? Oh, all right.
What's up, everyone? It's Real Sales Talk, the show for salespeople by real salespeople who sit in the seat, carry quotas, and who pass along their tips and tricks to you to help you be more successful and make more money. And we're also bringing you our vast network of sales practitioners, sales leaders, sales authors, giving you access to them so you can get better and be the best there is in your company and in your region. My name is Sean. Got co-host Henry Johnson on the other line. What's going on, Henry?
Hey, life is good, Sean. Life is good. As I was just telling you, man, I just got to go watch my buddy do the New York Marathon. So I'm like on this high of like just dedication that I just love what he was able to accomplish there, and hopefully I'll probably never run a marathon, but it was cool to see.
no doubt, it's commitment. Like, it's one of the biggest commitments you can make as a like physical commitment you can make. I mean, because that's you're running for a few hours.
Yeah. And he did it fast. He was doing 10-minute miles.
Yep.
So throughout, on average, so he did it in 4.5 hours. Which, for an average person, never run a marathon, to me, I think that's pretty good.
Did you get a chance to talk with him? Does he want to run another one? Or is he like, no, never again?
So we went out to dinner afterward. And I asked him that exact question. And he was like, ask me in like a week or two. Right now, like, I can't even give you a good answer.
Yeah.
I just want to go to sleep. Like,
Yep.
That's where it's at.
It's cool. Well, This is the last episode. It's actually technically not the last episode, but it's going to be it's going to be one of the last episodes of this season. I think somehow we skipped an episode in between me missing a weekend and you covering it, and then us jumping back in. So I'll have to figure that out. I think I might add another one onto this maybe next Sunday, but we'll see. We've got a big announcement to make to our Real Sales Talk listeners who've been following us the last almost 30 weeks. We've been doing this for 30 weeks, Henry. Can you believe it?
Yeah. It's at least 30 weeks. I mean, we've done it 30 weeks.
Yes.
But we've had breaks in between. So, I mean, it's almost been it's a little more than half a year.
That's right. No, I mean, we're like 10 months.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty big.
That's really, really cool. So trying to think of how to do this, but maybe I should just kick it over to you and let you kind of share the huge announcement right off the top.
Yeah. All right. I will take the lead. I guess it is my news. So it is going to be my last week on Real Sales Talk. It's been a heck of a ride. It's been a lot of fun. Meeting you, I mean, has been probably the highlight of it, right? Like, just getting to develop this relationship and actually do a podcast. I mean, that was something I've said I've wanted to do a lot. Like, it's not the first time I said I wanted to do one. So actually doing one was a good accomplishment. And I appreciate you helping out a lot on that and getting it done together. And then, all the people we got to meet and the things we got to learn was just amazing. But just for me right now, with starting the new company and, running sales and marketing, I'm running like a, chicken with his head cut off, and just the time commitment and everything else just right now is not right for me. But as we've discussed, like, I'll probably hop in and out every once in a while still, although I will no longer be the co-host.
You'll be the alumni, you're big leagues now, and anytime you want to come back to your alma mater, you could jump in and add your 2 cents.
I appreciate you welcoming me back anytime.
Well, for the Real Sales Talk listeners, I begged and pleaded, Henry, but he's got a big responsibility that is put in front of him with him and his dad's business in the home automation space, and So, Henry, you're going to be missed for sure. It's not going to be the same show without you. And gosh, teardrop.
Yeah, it's sad. It is sad. Hey,
No,
but there is somebody stepping in.
yes, that's correct.
I will let you take the reins on that.
Yeah, so it's for the Real Sales Talk listeners, actually someone that you are familiar with, Phil Keene, who's the director of demand generation. Hope I'm getting that right, Phil. Director of demand generation at a software company called Octiv, OCTIV.com. He's going to be taking over as the wingman for Real Sales Talk. So super excited about that. And Phil, if you're listening, can't wait for you to give your insight and your knowledge on sales and marketing as well. So super pumped.
Yeah, I know you and Phil are going to produce some big things, man. Like I said, the time commitment for me kind of didn't enable me to kind of put in what I think needed to be put in.
Yep.
But I think with you and Phil doing it together, man, you guys are going to really take this to the next level. So I'm excited to watch the progression.
Cool. Yeah.
Foundation for you, Phil, if you're watching.
So that's actually a good opportunity to bring this up. Last month, October, we more than doubled our downloads with our podcast, the audio version of the podcast, and it was the biggest month we've ever had this year since putting it on to the different podcast platforms, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and so, Henry, you're definitely leaving on a really, really positive note, and it was really cool. I mean, I was blown away. I sent you the screenshot I think last week, and it was even more than what I think I sent. We ended up even better than that. So thank you to everyone who's made this successful, and we want to take it to the next level here as Phil joins in, and we've got big plans for season 4, which will start November 30th. We're going to switch it to a Wednesday. Going to be the same time. But we're gonna switch it to a Wednesday, and hope that more of you can join in live.
Awesome.
Yeah. So it couldn't be more appropriate, Henry. This being your last episode that we recap. We've never done this before in the previous two seasons, but I think this is cool. Like us to just jam on what our takeaways have been of this past season 3. So. This is going to be it's going to be like that slideshow at the end of high school graduation where everyone's like just bawling and looking back at the memories. And
yeah.
So before we jump into that, how can people get questions to us and have comments if they want to add their thoughts or questions?
Yeah. So guys, I mean, you guys hear me say it once a week, every week, right? Really, the way to talk to us is go to Twitter and put in hashtag Real Sales Talk. That's probably the best way. I'm always watching the hashtag, so I will engage your questions or comments if anybody has anything to say. And then also you can always at Sean or I on Twitter. I'm at Talk to Henry J, and then we have Sean here at Sean M. Mitchell, and we'll go from there. Hey, Sean, I had to ask you, the M in Sean M. Mitchell, what is your middle name?
Michael.
Yeah. Michael. I thought it was. I wasn't sure.
If you're if any of those out there were WWF fans back in the day, you can remember it by the wrestler Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, there we go. Sweet Chin Music.
Yeah,
Sweet Chin Music.
Someone posted something on Facebook the other day, and it was like it was like highlight clips of Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior and what's the other guy's name? The pallbearer, or the really massive guy. Gosh, I can't remember his name, but he always came in like as a Paul Bear or something.
Paul Bear, the guy with the black hair used to be
Yeah.
with like Undertaker and everything.
Undertaker. Yes.
Yeah.
Undertaker. That's what I was thinking of. Undertaker.
Okay.
Anyways, it just like I had flashbacks to my younger days. And I'm like, oh man, I was a big fan of WWF.
I was right there with you.
Yep. Ultimate Warrior was my man. He was like my idol.
Yeah.
So let's.
I was a Stone my friend.
Were you?
Myself.
Nice. So this has been an awesome season. This has been a really, really cool season for us, and definitely the best season we've ever had. We've had some really, really great guests. We've covered some really, really great topics, and as alluding to earlier with the best month ever of downloads, we've had a chance to really rub shoulders with some great people and meet some fantastic listeners of Real Sales Talk. So I think what we'll do tonight is just go through some of the episodes of this last season, season 3, and just provide our commentary, our takeaways, our thoughts on what we thought of it. So without further ado, the first episode that we had for season 3 was with Alice Hyman, and it was about referrals. So the most overlooked sales strategy, which referrals was the topic. How did it go for you? I mean, this is one that we've talked about often, Henry. What were some of your takeaways and some of the things that you'll remember about our conversation with Alice?
Yeah, so the conversation with Alice was excellent and really got me like fired up about like the going after referrals and asking people for referrals. I mean, I think the key takeaway that I had, and probably similar to the one that you would have had, is don't ask, do you know anybody that can refer us? Ask, who do you know that would like something like this? Because it kind of takes away the no, right? It's just, I know you know somebody, so who is it, kind of thing. And I think it enables people to more easily kind of say something there. So that was 100% my biggest takeaway from it. I mean, I won't take the shine away from you if you have anything else.
No, I'm right there with you. It's interesting. I don't know why, after hearing about referrals so many times and knowing to ask, why this episode really stuck with me. The conversation really, really stuck with me. And I've been much more aware of referrals and asking for referrals. And, both in my role at Real Space, as well as asking people to be guests on the show for Real Sales Talk. And I mean, it's the perfect example was, one of our first like really, really big, I would consider, guests was Jeb Blunt, who's the author of Fanatical Prospecting, fantastic book if you haven't checked it out. But when we got him on the show, the next thing was to use him to leverage him is probably maybe a better way. Use can have a bad connotation, but to leverage him to have Mike Weinberg on the show, who's the author of Sales Management Simplified. He's also got a Sales Simplified as well. And then from there, we went from Jeb to Mike, and then this season we had Anthony Iannarino on the show. So that's really a perfect example of, hey, because there's context there, there's relationship. We had a relationship with Jeb. Then we used our relationship with Jeb to then ask Mike, and then both of them to then ask Anthony. So like case in point, it's just a lot easier. There's less friction, there's more context. And that's my takeaway from Alice Hyman's from our talk with Alice Hyman is it's an easier, less friction way of generating business, right?
Yeah, because I mean, I don't think there's any way we would have got Anthony if it wasn't for Jeb and Mike.
Right.
Personally, right? I mean, the Jeb one kind of came just through force from the two of us. But Anthony, I think timing worked out well with his book coming out. But I mean, he's probably getting asked by so many people to be on the show as well. So I think Jeb and Mike helped a ton with enabling that to happen.
Yeah.
I will say, like, watching you do that, because I mean that was all you getting that done.
Well, let me interrupt
awesome.
you there. You were the one that got Jeb, so gotta give credit where credit is due. You got Jeb. You're the one that initially asked him.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, with the referral standpoint, like getting Anthony, and I think the Mike one kind of came through the same way. I love that you asking for those referrals. I think I need to do a better job. I think Alice like opened my eyes to I need to do a better job with that, and I still need to. And I'm just kind of calling myself out because in my current job I haven't done it as much. And I think largely that's because like the customers that we have like aren't my customers; they're coming from my father. So that's and like just asking friends can be a little weird. I know she said do it, but I don't know if I'm quite there yet. So I'm working on it, but it was, but definitely something that I know works well. Watching you do it, and something I want to do more of. So calling myself out a little bit here.
Totally, and me too. Like, the timing of our talk with Alice couldn't have been better, right? Because we were both in transition to new roles at new companies, and what better way to cost effectively get that ball rolling with new customers than to ask people who already have context for our products and services.
Yeah, no, it was amazing.
Cool. Yeah, so that was awesome. Definitely one that I remember.
Cool. So let's move on to number 2.
Yes, yeah. This I think was when you went on your gallivanting to Texas and South Africa. So, but
yeah, because I was thinking Morgan Ingram wasn't season 3. He must be season 2. Okay.
Yeah. I was thinking the same thing earlier this week, and then as I was going through the list, I'm like, oh yeah, he was at the end of season 2. So, so this one is the topic of this one was 3 tools to help you generate cash so you can do what you love. And the whole idea behind this one, when Henry was out and about in South Africa, was, I mean, I'm living this thing right now. Like, how can you solve? How can you get to that place? Put yourself in a position to do what you love. And this is the whole Gary Vaynerchuk philosophy, right? Of during the day you do your job, you do your 9-to-5 job, or your 8-to-5 job rather, and then in the nighttime you work really hard to get in that position to have the money or have the momentum to be able to do what you really love doing, so that you can ideally transition into that. And sometimes that means doing some side jobs, making some extra cash so that you can afford to make that transition, or so that you can save up and then put that money into that company that you want to start, or whatever it is. So that was really the context for this episode. And I talked about 3 ways that you can make money to put you in the position to do what you love. The first one is Uber. I mean, both of us have been recipients of this incredible technology as a rider, but the context that I was talking about for this one was to drive for Uber. And it's something that I've been doing on the side now, and I think it's pretty cool to have the flexibility to make your own schedule, and it's actually a really smart way to business expense a lot of things, like a car. So that's the first one. What are your thoughts about that?
No, I mean, I think that's a so this kind of goes to another place, but like there was a time where I was about to, before I did this, before I went to my last company, Zerto, I was going to quit my job and just try to start my own thing. I had no clue what it was going to be and nothing. Long story short, I didn't do it.
Yeah.
But that was my thing, right? I was like, look, worst, I can always Uber, right? Like
Right.
until I figure out what my next move is. Like, and I know people who make a ton of money driving Uber. I mean, you got to be strategic. I mean, there's a lot of different ways you can do it, but I know people making over $100,000 driving Uber a year. And it's just opened up for so many people a new way of making money. If you have a car and your license isn't jacked up and you're not like a sex offender or something, like you're probably good. Like, you know what I mean? Like you can make money just at the drop of a hat. So I think it's huge. And I think you bring up something interesting is being able to like write off your car as an expense. It's huge and really helps for a lot of people.
Think about all the times that your car is just sitting in the garage or, parked. And, as a depreciating asset, this is one way that you can kind of make it a moneymaker for you. And just like what you talked about, I mean, if you would have gone out in that venture to start your own business, Uber would have given you the flexibility to work whenever you want. I mean, let's say that you from 8 to 5, you leave your real job, your day job at the working for the man, and you put all of that time into working on your own business and your own idea from 8 to 5, and then let's say from 6 to midnight, you do the Uber driving to be able to pay the bills and continue to spend the majority of your time working on that business idea that you have. So, so the next one is Turo. Have you heard of this one, Henry? Maybe we've talked about it before.
I've never heard of Turo. No.
All right, so it's like the Airbnb of cars.
Okay.
So instead of Uber being, the service where you drive people around, think about this like someone coming in, taking a long vacation or a long weekend in your city, and they need a car to rent. And Enterprise really doesn't give you a lot of options, and the pricing is typically pretty high, especially if you rent at the actual airport. So this is like the Airbnb of cars. So car owners can put their car up on Turo.com's website, and it's Turo, and you can set your rate, and Turo insures it while it's being rented out, and it's based off of that peer-to-peer review system as well. So after that person gives the car back, you rate that person, that renter, and the renter rates you. And so there's this dual accountability there. But imagine if on the weekends you wanted to rent your car out because you're home anyway and you don't go out much, or you typically take Uber because you're drinking and you don't want to drive. So why not rent it out and let the car make money for you?
And you've been doing this?
I have. Yeah, I have.
With the new Tesla?
No, Subaru.
Oh.
With the Subaru. Okay. So I haven't gotten rid of the Subaru that I was driving before. Okay. So actually, it's been paying for the new car as well as the Subaru. So it's at this point it's kind of a wash, So it just kind of covers both car payments.
I mean, that's I wouldn't consider that a wash. I mean, because if it covers both car payments, I mean, if you aren't doing it, you'd be paying both car payments.
Right.
Yep. So whatever money that's essentially 2 cars for free.
Yep.
Or at least one for free. Maybe one, it's out. I don't know how often you're renting it out, but that's pretty cool.
I mean, so far it's most weekends. Usually rented out Thursday to a Sunday or something like that. This person that I just dropped it off to is renting it for 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
So it'll pull in almost $1,000, $1,000.
Wow, I gotta check that out.
Me doing nothing.
And Turo insures it.
Yes.
So if they steal it or like get in an accident or anything, like
it's covered.
You're good.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. So Turo, a really interesting one. And again, if you're looking to start your own business or you want to, I don't know. I mean, it could be you're even having a down quarter as a sales rep, and you need to find a way to make some money so that you can pay the bills and take care of the family or whatever. Interesting idea. So Turo.com, Turo. All right. This next one, I know we both used it. We both love it. It's Upwork.com.
Yes, sir.
So have you used it lately?
No, like so I always try to find like my people through it, like the person. I had a friend who's really good with data entry. I had like a web design guy, and I was trying to like have like my peoples. Interview process I go through. And I didn't want to have to do that every time, but it seems like I'm gonna have to do it again because they have now disappeared. I can't get they're not answering me on Skype or anything. So
Funny. Talk about what it is.
I
Why
want
don't
to use
you
them.
tell people who don't know what it
Sorry,
is,
yeah, sorry.
give them a little insight.
So essentially, what Upwork is, um, it's like I don't know, it's a place. It's like a almost like a job board in a way.
Yeah.
But you can be either the job applicants or the hiring manager, right? So you're hiring freelancers essentially. So people will put up and say like, hey, like I am good at data entry. I could do cold calling for you. I can do marketing, blah, blah, blah. And then you as somebody who needs somebody for data entry can go on there, search around, find somebody who does that, put up a job like posting, and then hire people for it. You select the payments, they apply for it. You guys can then negotiate it out if you want and make it happen. The cool thing about it is that any of the work that's on there is pretty much all virtual work. So you can get people from literally anywhere in the world. I've hired people from the Philippines, from India. Typically, those are the more inexpensive countries. And it's not like inhumane or anything because although I'm paying them $4 an hour over there, that goes very far, and it's a good wage. So just want to throw that out there as a caveat. I also have a buddy who does that as his full-time job.
Huh. So he puts his services out there, and then people hire him.
Exactly. He's a writer, does content, creates content for people.
It's cool.
Yeah,
it's cool.
Pretty cool stuff.
Here's my 2 cents on Upwork. I'll give you 2 perspectives. Let's say you're the salesperson, and you know how much you make each year. You divide that out into an hourly rate. You find out what your hourly rate is, and then anytime you have a task that you need to do that's you feel less than that hourly rate, or you feel like you could be doing something else that would be making you more money, delegate to someone on Upwork, because you can get it done for less expensive. In fact, when I used Upwork, it was for some data mining. I had a list of some people that were going to be at a conference, and I wanted to reach out to them prior to that to kind of warm them up a little. I think it took 20 hours, if I remember correctly. And
what took 20? The data mining?
Yes. Yeah. I think who I hired, he spent, maybe it was somewhere around 20 or 30 hours, and I ended up paying $25 to have him find phone numbers, email addresses, and company size. If I would have done that, that would have been a colossal waste of time for me, because I could have been doing something better. So that's one perspective. Like, if you figure out what your hourly rate is as a sales rep or as a business owner, and anytime you have something that you find you could be spending your time better, delegate that to someone. Hire someone at Upwork, and it's different from hiring an employee, because then you don't have some of those things that come along with hiring an employee, right? You can get it done for pretty cost effectively, and they're good. Upwork will ensure that work as well. So if someone stiffs you, I believe Upwork covers that whatever that rate was.
They're pretty good with it. I mean, I don't know the exact structure of how it works, but you are right. They will cover you in some way.
Yeah. So the other perspective is, let's say you do have a skill or an expertise. You can, like Henry was saying with his friend, you can put your skill up on Upwork and have people hire you, and you can apply to job postings that are on Upwork too. So this could be a way for you to make money. So again, you can do what you love.
Awesome.
All right. So I think we're good there. Let's lightly touch on the next episode, which was with Phil Keen was a guest co-host, and this is probably the episode that won him his gig, the gig for next season. How sales and marketing can build a revenue machine. Since you weren't here for this one, I'll just kind of briefly give my 2 cents on this, and then if you want, we can move on to the next one. But so sales and marketing has a history of having challenges working together. When something's not working, when sales isn't getting good quality leads, or pointing at marketing. When sales is not converting those leads that marketing is generating, then marketing is pointing the finger at sales. So in this episode, we just essentially talked about how they can work together to be able to get to that common goal. And one of the questions that I asked Phil was, how should sales and marketing be held to the same quota? And I think, if I remember correctly, we basically determined that they should have a very similar quota, maybe not compensated the same, but they should be held to a similar, the revenue kind of rolls up, right? So the revenue generated is at the very, very top for the entire company. So they're both working towards the same goal. So why not hold them accountable towards that same revenue number or something similar? So I thought it was an interesting conversation, and I think in general, Phil and I were on the same page with making sure that they're held to the same revenue, because they're basically feeding into each other in that funnel. And then the other thought was, the other question I asked to Phil was, should sales and marketing have the same boss, like a chief revenue officer that oversees both departments? And so I think there's a good case for that as well, or at least.
What was his thoughts on that?
I think he wasn't as definitive about it, but if I remember correctly, he said at least the head of sales and the head of marketing should be meeting together on a continual basis to make sure that they're on the same page.
Okay.
So I think the chief revenue officer or something like that is an interesting play, because then you have one person who's then managing both departments and making sure that the objectives are aligned.
Yeah, I'm in line with that more so, of a chief. Like, as this continues to grow, in my opinion, I'm more of the chief revenue officer, more of a chief revenue officer kind of guy, because I think there's I've seen such a battle between sales and marketing, and I think it's important for them to be, as you said, right, on the same page. Like, revenue is the goal, where you find, like, a lot of times that marketing doesn't care about revenue. All they care about is leads, and sales cares about revenue, and marketing gives them BS leads, so they don't care about marketing. It's like, which is so wrong. So I don't know. That's my take. So cool. I'll keep moving, but I did want to drop on that.
No, that's great. So the next one, I was gone, and you were running this, and you were talking about your experience with B2B versus B2C sales. So I actually listened to this episode, so I can probably get some 2 cents, but really this was kind of talking about your journey from going from your old company to working with your dad's company.
Yeah, so I mean, if you listen to it, like, you kind of know what I just pretty much talking about. It's very different, and not being able to just pick up, know who you're calling, and especially know anything you want to know about their work history and call them up, is different than where I am today, and that I have to go through if I'm going to make a cold call, there's no and as I mentioned, there is a way, like a Chelsea Pites showed me something. I haven't done that yet, so I have to be honest on that. But what I will say is I have kind of adopted the business to business model a little bit, and that what I'm focused on a lot is building relationships with other businesses like interior designers, builders, etc. That has been helping me, and potentially will be getting me my second deal soon. And the other thing that I've been doing that's been very good is utilizing things like Facebook groups to find actual consumers. So like I go into my town's Facebook group. I find out, I just kind of watch. I always help out with the little things that I can and talk other than just about my business. And, every once in a while somebody will say, hey, we're looking to put, speakers in the ceiling. We're looking to, buy, hang a TV. And I may be getting my first deal closed through that hopefully this week. So
nice.
That would be really nice. It's just a grind, but that's the nature of the beast of being first off someplace completely different, and two someplace very small that you're kind of doing it all. So it's been fun, and we're gonna keep it going.
Nice. Yeah. It'd be good to close that first deal down.
Oh man, it'd be amazing.
Give you some reinforcement and motivation to move on to the next one and get the second one done. And
oh man,
be on that.
I would be very happy with it. And one thing I want to talk about, just say real quick, because it has to do with that, kind of doesn't, but something that I kind of got this week that I want to talk to people about and recommend is like, so cold calling, right, is something that pretty much all of us salespeople do, and something that especially I'm doing a lot of, being like the first sales guy at this company. And one thing that I learned is, and I've known this, but when you're in a larger company, you don't want to take you just kind of will go with the flow of what everybody's always been doing. Sometimes it's not right? Like, so one thing, for example, is we cold call a person, and we essentially ask them, do they want to sit in on a product pitch? Right? We tell them how good our product is, all the stuff, the problems it's going to solve for them, blah, 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 blah. But the problem, the thing about it is, people never want to sit on a product pitch. Like, if they want, like, very rarely, like, I mean, you are going to get that, 1%, 5%, whatever the case. What people do want is an education. They want to learn more about their business and like the hazards of what they're, or the benefits of things, places they can look. So what I'd recommend to people is, like, when you're cold calling, try to think about that. Is there something that you can set that meeting up for that they would probably pay you for anyway, right? So, for example, what I've changed my cold calling strategy from, hey, I'd love to set up a meeting with you to talk about, how home automation can help you increase your revenue and customer satisfaction, blah, 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 whatever, right? To, hey, we're doing a video series on YouTube to highlight all of the best interior designers, builders, etc. in the area, and we'd love to feature you. Nobody says no to that because it's free marketing for them. Number two, I get to talk to them about partnership anyway once we get in that room. And number three, once we actually get that video together, for me, that becomes marketing, right? So that's what I've changed it to do. What I understand is a lot of people can't do that if you're like a salesperson at a larger company, but what you can do is still offer them some kind of like lesson plan rather than a product pitch. So, for example, right, like when I was at Zerto, we sold disaster recovery software, and I always wanted to do it at Zerto, but I took a back step and I didn't do it because it wasn't how things were done. But we sold disaster recovery software. The reason our software existed was largely because like disaster recovery is super complex and like doesn't work 99% of the time, right? Or you're down for a long time, whereas Zerto, we helped overcome those challenges. I won't go into a Zerto pitch, right? But we had like a pitch deck about like it was educational and had very little to do with Zerto until the very end. So really, what I should have been calling, what I would recommend people to do now is like call people up and say, hey, I'm calling from Zerto. We're number one disaster recovery, all-in-one disaster recovery software, and I'd love to get you on the phone and talk to you about. And what we're seeing is the number one challenge in disaster recovery. This is not a product pitch. I'm not calling to tell you about Zerto. I just want to talk to you about like what you guys should be thinking about when you're approaching DR. And at the end, if you decide you want to talk about Zerto, we can set up another call. But this call will not be about Zerto. I mean, at the end of the call, you may give them a little like, and this is why Zerto exists kind of thing to see if they want to do it. But like, I think it's a lot easier to get somebody on the phone when you're talking about education or something that they would literally pay you for rather than a product pitch. So
totally.
I know that was long, but just some
no, I think it's good insight and good thoughts. And I think the listeners will appreciate a ground level view of what you're doing right now and what you're finding working.
Yeah.
I will add to that I think in general people say no to things that they don't know and aren't familiar with just out of human nature. And so what you're talking about doing, I think, is warming up that relationship so that there is rapport built there. So that if they determine that they're interested, you earn their rapport by giving them something of value that's not going to cost them anything, but will help them grow their business or solve a common problem. And by giving that away for free, you earn their trust and rapport, which then opens the door for them to ask questions. Well, what about this? Or how does this work? Or does your company do this? So I love the idea. I'm going to take that and let's see, is it next week or the week after? Let me see. So I'm going to do it's in about a week and a half. I'm going to do a webinar and talk about so the company that I work for is a real estate CRM, and so I'm going to invite people to a webinar on how to leverage a CRM, how to generate real estate transactions from a CRM. Because that's the managing of the business piece, especially the past, the database, the past clients, the friends and family, the leads that never converted. Those are in many cases overlooked because real estate professionals are dealing with the hottest stuff first. So what I want to do is I just want to do a pure training and give. And if people want to inquire about real space, great. If not, then I know that I've added some value and hopefully given them some ideas on how they can manage their existing CRM better.
I think it's huge, man. It's the whole jab, 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 right hook kind of philosophy, right? It's like just give them something, and then you have the right to ask. And I think as salespeople, we're so transactional. It's like ask.
Yeah.
That we miss out. And I think that's like the whole thing with you and Phil Keen talking about, like marketing is so give, and they never ask. And then on the sales side, we're always ask. We never give. And that's why the marriage needs to happen. And that's what's so important about it. But yeah,
totally.
I know we're taking a lot of time on the early stuff, so we can keep going.
No, it's good. But, I mean, we may have covered some of this stuff already, but the next episode that came up was you and I talking about what we've been doing in our new jobs or what we've been learning in our new jobs. So,
all right. So what I just said about the cold calling, that would be what my learning.
Right. Right. Yeah, totally. I'm trying to think if I can add some more insight. Maybe for the listeners that may be of value. So I've been working to kind of flesh out that follow-up process for 2-week trials. How many calls? Actually, since that episode, I have completed a brand new drip campaign for people who sign up for a 2-week trial of RailSpace. And the angle that I wanted to take was very much educational. So if they just take the emails that they're getting in that drip campaign and implement them into their existing CRM that they already have, they will grow their business. And it's essentially what I'm going to do the webinar on. So it's tips, it's strategies for generating more business from the existing database of contacts. So that's one thing that I've completed since that episode, and something that I think is really, really interesting, which is exactly what we're talking about, this, giving of value and teaching people. And by teaching, you kind of earn the right to, to ask them questions, because, providing value earns trust, because there's, they can see that it works for their business anyway. So, so that's one thing that I kind of got through, and like update on how what I'm learning right now and how things are going is there's a lot of work to do. There's a lot of work to do, and it takes a while to move.
Never stops, man.
Right. Yeah, totally. Yeah. But it's fun.
How do you eat an elephant? By bite.
One bite at a time. Yep.
One bite at a time, man. That's the only way it's done. You just gotta, you build that wall by laying a brick after brick and laying them well. So
for sure,
it's just the name of the game.
All right, next one, Anthony Iannarino, the only sales guide you'll ever need. I was just floored that he so quickly responded to my email inquiry if he'd like to be on the show. He's like, sure. So I think we within a week we set it up and got it taken care of, and it was good timing because he was promoting his book called The Only Sales Guide You'll Ever Need. So what were some of your takeaways from our conversation with Anthony?
Sorry, you broke up. I didn't.
What were some of your takeaways from our conversation with Anthony?
I mean, the conversation with Anthony was awesome, man. I just think just I mean, he dropped so many gems throughout that conversation. Just going after it, man. Being just not stopping and making the calls, being diligent in what needs to be done, and just continuing to go follow the plan, get it done. That's sales at the end of the day, right? It's what to do, but a lot of times people don't do it. It's what you need to do, but why aren't you? It takes a dedication. It takes a discipline to actually do it. And I think he really kind of spoke to that a lot.
Yeah, I recall listening to him when talking about getting up at 4 a.m, is it? Or 5 a.m?
I think it was 5. I could be wrong. Maybe 4 though. Maybe 4.
And so he goes into his routine when he gets up in the morning. He dedicates at least an hour to blogging every day.
Yeah.
He goes to the gym and he blogs. Those are the couple of things that I remember him talking about. And so, my impression was the discipline that it takes to do that will set you up for success the rest of the day. So that's why he's very religious about the writing, and he's producing great content on a daily basis on his blog. And that was one of my takeaways. I can be doing better, and there's nothing wrong with shutting off the phone while you prospect, make outbound phone calls, or do those high value things that you're supposed to get done during that day. And that was
I think he talked about that. He shuts his phone off, do not disturb, unless it's family. The only people who it's important.
Yeah, I think this show's been really, really cool because not only is it brand building for us and providing value to other people, but secretly, selfishly, it's really made me a better salesperson. And I think that's really, really cool that by helping other people grow, we've also benefited from this as well, and become better salespeople from the guests that we've had on the show.
I mean, there's been a ton, man. just like yeah, like you said, right? Like these conversations make us better, and like your work ethic has made me work harder. Just kind
Mhm.
of being around you, right? Like kind of seeing like you waking up, like you're every morning you watch your snap, you're up early getting it, and I'm like, man, like if I'm still sleeping, like I know Sean's getting it, I better get up and go. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
seriously though, like right, like it's like what people say, right? You're the combination of the 5 people you surround yourself with, right? Like
Hmm.
you got to surround yourself with people like that. And I think for me, the coolest thing about this has been the relationships too, right? Like
Hmm.
Justin Lin, like I talk to Justin all the time
Hmm.
still, like, and he was on like season 1 maybe. It was
Yeah.
like still talk to Justin all the time. Like Justin's probably the one I talk to the most. Like talk to Matt a little bit. Um, Shannon a little bit, like,
Yep.
but I've also got people from Justin's network, like this guy
Hmm.
Rick, like so. It's just the guy from Alliant Power, like just kind of
Hmm.
we're surrounding ourselves, like we're building the network that we want to have, which
Yeah.
is awesome to me. Like,
Totally.
that's the best.
Yeah. I had this idea as I was pulling into the garage this afternoon. You probably have already thought about this, but one of the things that's been challenging for you, Henry, and a little insight for our listeners is, spending your time on things that are going to help you grow your home automation business. And so I had this idea of like, man, you know what you should do? You should tag team with Justin Lindsay and do a show like this specific for, homes and home improvements and home automation. I think that'd be a really, really cool idea. Have you thought about
That
that
is
yet?
actually no, I have not thought about that, but that is actually an interesting idea to do something in the realm that will kind of help like
Yeah.
grow. And that's something that I do want to do. Is like I want it to be. I need to do something that's going to help like grow the business. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And that's kind of where I'm at. So,
Dude,
no,
you could totally take what we've done over the last 3 seasons and carbon copy that and have guests from
yeah,
the industries that you're serving, and
yeah,
bring on Betty Lee from New York, the luxury real
yeah,
estate agent.
yeah,
Bring on some of your other contacts, and start building that out, because that's directly benefiting what you're trying to do and creating more exposure for yourself.
yeah, yeah. That's actually a really good idea. That's actually a really good
That
idea.
one's free. I won't charge you for that one.
I appreciate that. I appreciate
Cool. Okay, so
that.
moving on. Tom Hopkins, The Definitive Guide to Closing the Sale. This one was incredible. This one wasn't one that you were able to
I
make, but
missed it.
you missed out on a big one, because this guy's like the grandfather, the godfather of sales. He's got to be in his late 60s, and he's a sales trainer. He's a sales author. He sold over, I think it was 3 million copies of his books. And I don't know if I have the book near me. I don't, but one of his books, How to Master the Art of Sales, has had a massive impact on my sales career. And he, like, there were a lot of good techniques and good strategies that he talked about on the show, but
Mhm.
some of my takeaways were some of the intangibles, like, having just talked with him for 5 or 10 minutes before the show started recording, he really made me feel comfortable around him, which it was just cool to see a master at work, because one of the things that he did in the conversation over that hour was mention my name periodically.
Mhm.
And this is like one of those, I think, secrets to success in sales that's
Mhm.
maybe overlooked or underappreciated. So, I would ask him a question, and he would answer, and his first statement would be, well, that's a fantastic question, Sean. Here's what I've learned over the years, or something like that. And it just made me feel like he knew me and I knew him. Like, we were best friends, but we had just met. And I just thought, like peppering in someone's name when you're doing a demo, or when you're having a
Mhm.
conversation with someone that you don't have a lot of rapport built with yet, is a really, really crazy, effective way to start to build that trust.
Yeah, no, 1000%. Yeah, and I'm sad I couldn't make that one because Tom is very well known, and he sent me the book, so I'm excited to dive into that as well.
Awesome. Yeah, this is the when buyers say no, right?
Yeah.
The yellow one. Yeah.
Yep.
I haven't dived into that one either, or dove into that one either, but I really, really want to, because if it's as good as his other one, then it's gonna be cool. Oh, one of the other cool things was he wrote that book, How to Master the Art of Sales, when he was 24 and 25 years old. He said that he did in his first year in real estate, which was his first sales job, 300 real estate transactions, which is incredible. And so that was kind of his platform to,
I
start
remember
speaking.
Justin and Shannon were saying they do 30.
Exactly.
Which is a really good number.
Yeah. I mean, even 100, even 100, you're like hustling. At 100, you're doing really well, but 300, yeah, impressive. And the fact that he wrote his first book when he was 25 years old is just phenomenal. I'm like, dude,
I'm behind the 8 ball.
I need to get on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I totally need to get on it. Like it was inspiring to hear that. So yeah, fantastic episode. Really, really probably, I mean, anytime we have a guest on, it's like a highlight of mine, but to have him on, since he's like the godfather of sales, and all the sales techniques that everyone talks about that people think are like the best thing since sliced bread, he's come up with it and has been teaching all over the world for decades.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Cool. Okay, so episode 9 was Dave Kittle last week. How to diagnose pain like a physical therapist. So this one's probably the freshest episode on our mind. What were some of your takeaways from this one?
Well, I really enjoyed this one because I have a buddy who was becoming a doctor when him and we used to go out to dinner all the time. And I had just gotten into sales, and he was just becoming a doctor. And I was like learning about how to ask questions, all stuff, and he was pretty much like, "Oh man, like I'm gonna need to learn how to do this." So when we got to dinner, he'd be asking me like, "So teach me some more of these questions that you're asking. Do you know these questions?" And that was essentially what Dave was talking about. Like he was asking the questions that we in sales learn, right? Mm-hmm. So it was really cool to see that like somebody taking the time, because something that he also mentions, like when you go to like your regular doctor, they're in this like they have to get people out the door so quick that they're really not like diving in with you. But it was cool to kind of hear how Dave would dive in when he was a physical therapist and learn more about like what people would do, how they interact in their day, like what's like their goal for like their hurt body part. It was. I mean, he's essentially making a sale to the person about how to do physical therapy.
Totally.
So it was awesome.
I think that the process of diagnosing what's wrong with someone, that conversation that we had was really interesting because, exactly what I suspected, because I had my own preconceived ideas when I went to go see a physical therapist earlier this year. Before I met with a physical therapist, I was like, I'm never going to be able to run again. I mean, I'm going to have surgery, and I don't want to have surgery. I'm not going to have surgery. I had just essentially resolved to, not ever run again. And so I was really sad about it. And so I came into this initial appointment with this physical therapist here in Denver, thinking it's not going to work. It's not going to work. I need surgery. And then, what he does was, his name is Zach Fox, Rocky Mountain Spine and Sport Physical Therapy. Zach Fox. Give him a shout out there. So, he goes into asking me questions, and exactly what Dave was talking about on episode 9. And, he's digging in. He's like, one of the last questions was, so where would you like to be at the end of the physical therapy? And I'm like, well, I'd like to get back to running 3 to 5 miles, without any pain. So he's like, I think that's doable based on what we've talked about and what I've learned so far. So, I think one of the interesting things is sometimes when you meet with a prospect or a lead or someone who's agreed to a demo, sometimes they come up with these preconceived ideas about what they think they need.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't ask the right questions, if you don't go through, layer by layer by layer and ask questions to learn about their business, to learn about where the challenges are, where the opportunities are, you may misdiagnose them. And so that process of doing that discovery phone call and doing the demo really matter a lot, because you could potentially misdiagnose, and or you could completely miss the sale because you don't get to that root cause.
Yeah.
So I think that was one of the interesting things for me. It's like I had this idea, this notion that medicine and health professionals do a similar thing. They do a discovery phone call, basically.
Yeah.
Right. They ask questions.
It was cool.
It was totally, absolutely. I'm trying to think.
Something else I'll say that I really liked what he talked about was kind of like what you're saying, right? Like you walk in, people would always walk in with this, like, it's not going to work anyway. Like, I'm just here, like, because somebody told me to come. And he was like, what he always would do is get them to do like one exercise or something. And then they'd notice, like, wow. Like, he'd ask them first, like, when they first walked in, like, percentage wise, how did it feel? And they'd be like, it's I'm 60% on this knee.
Mm-hmm.
And then he'd have them do one exercise. And then he'd ask them again, like, how do you feel now? And they'd be like, wow, I feel like, at least 75. Like, it feels a lot stronger. And then right there, he's able to show value. So then it was easier to get them to kind of come to the next time, which was eye-opening, because it's something that, we do in sales all the time. When, you're talking to somebody, you may ask them a question, and they say this, and then you may ask them another question, and they say this, and you go, you know what? I just talked to somebody the other day, like, they were going through something similar, and you give them like just that little peek into like how your product's going to eventually help them, right? Maybe you don't go into the entire pitch, but like you give them like a little, social proof, or you may give them like a little, some other kind of little inch of a pitch that's a little bit of value, which is awesome. Kind of very similar. So
yeah, it's awesome. Well, we've gotten through all of our episodes to date, and we've come to the very end of episode 10 of season 3. Henry, what are you going to do now that you don't have a Real Sales Talk on Sunday nights? You're going to have so much time.
Yeah, man. I wish time was what I'd have. I'll probably be writing blog posts, because that's probably what I'm going to go do right now.
Yeah.
Unless I'm probably gonna start my blog post now, go to sleep, and finish it at 5 a.m. Tomorrow morning, and then hit the gym. So that's my those are gonna be my Sundays from now on. And who knows, maybe I will have another show going soon that's focused in the smart home arena. So time will tell.
Sure. Yeah, totally. Well, you're going to be missed on Real Sales Talk, Henry. It's not going to be the same for sure. For those that are listening, do me a huge favor and go hit up Henry on Twitter at TalkToHenryJ and tell him thank you, and share your appreciation and maybe something that you've learned from something that he shared on the show over the last 3 seasons. So, Henry, man, it's going to be awesome. We'll keep in touch. We'll stay connected online on Snapchat and Twitter. So it'll be the same old for us for sure. But we'll definitely have you on as a surprise guest every once in a while. Yeah, man, I look forward to it, and I look forward to seeing you and Phil killing it. Cool, man. All right, buddy. Well, I wish you all the best success, and see you online. All right, man. Talk to you soon. Later.